LOL, BFF.
LOL, I know, right?
If you're like us and millions of other people, texting has taken over your life.
FYI, 8 trillion texts were sent in 2011.
So has texting taken over your life, or is it just a way of life?
Teens send over 6,000 texts a month. The average teenager sleeps with their phone. "94% of students use cell phones during school." Texting, a way of life?
Texting is altering our language. Some people say it's even ruining it.
Ruining it? No way. Before texting, I used to always say rolling on the floor laughing, holding my favorite Pokemon card while chewing gum. Now I can just say ROTFLHMFPCWCG. So much easier, am I right?
Yeah, right.
It's like this every night. I thought we talked about this. Okay, everybody put down your cell phones.
Hold on, one second.
Put it down. This is the problem with this family. Everybody's focused on their technology and not into interacting with each other. Put it down, please. Grandpa, you too?
I believe part of the problem today is communication is a lost art form.
72% of teenagers text regularly, and 1 in 3 send more than 100 texts per day. 60% of all communication is done via text. How has texting affected communication skills?
I'm afraid it's caused us to become sloppy in our communication skills. For example, A-R-E has become the letter R, Y-O-U has become just the letter U, and I think that we don't take time to proofread. So I think in our quickness, we're losing something with our communication skills.
Communication is probably the main thing in social interaction.
Probably? No, it is the main thing. Am I right, ladies? According to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, 1,150 people were treated in emergency rooms for injuries with handhelds in the U.S. in 2011.
Even texting and walking is a big deal. Some states like Delaware, Arkansas, and Illinois are trying to pass distracted walking bills.
I mean, come on, is it that hard to pay attention?
Texting has not only interfered with our ability to communicate, but it has also affected our social involvement with others. Texting hinders our ability to do simple tasks. We are distracted from everyday activities. Not only is texting dangerous, but it also ruins interactions, making some things simple and impersonal. It is very difficult for us to maintain a pleasant, normal conversation because of texting.
Well, first of all, I think that texting is actually a social interaction, and I think it's a good one when it's used responsibly. However, I do think that sometimes it can be very distracting when people are engaged in conversation.
Texting and walking is just as dangerous as texting and driving.
I know I text and drive. I try to stop myself, but it's hard because I like my phone.
Well, I like my phone too, but I like my life more.
Texting has caused us to become disconnected to personal social interaction, but it has also become life-threatening. 46% of drivers text and drive. Texting and driving causes 6,000 deaths each year. 16% of all teen drivers involved in fatal crashes were texting.
What do you think is more dangerous, texting and driving or drinking and driving?
Both end up in death at some point in time. If you do it long enough, you're certainly putting yourself at grave risk for a crash with significant injuries or death.
Drivers who use handheld devices are 4 times as likely to get into crashes serious enough to injure themselves.
I text and drive all the time. It's no big deal.
I was texting, yeah, oh well, it happens.
Well, yeah, I text and drive, but I've never been in an accident.
No one died. The only thing that was hurt was my wallet. I had to spend a little bit of money.
It's my choice. You can't stop me.
I'm in favor of laws that will make sure that we pay attention to what's happening on the roadway, that eliminates texting and driving. Think about it for a minute. The person that's killed may be your mom or dad, your brother or sister, or your best friend.
Girl ran through an intersection. She was on her cell phone. And of course, I don't remember anything, but my father said that I hit the brakes. I smashed them hard and I slid. And then I laid down the bike right before I hit the car head on. When I laid the bike down, I was going so fast that the force flipped me over the bike and I hit the door. Just my full body implanted into the door. And I was medevaced to a hospital in Asheville, North Carolina. And they sent me into emergency surgery where they discovered that I had shattered my spleen. I had bleeding in my brain. I damaged my lung cavity. I broke my ribs. And I broke my leg in 3 places. They put me on life support because I was not stable enough to breathe. I know that emotionally I've really struggled just with depression and just different areas like that. And then of course physically, because I did have many injuries and that has really limited what I can do in life right now. And a lot of people think, you know, oh, you're in an accident, how are you doing? But I think that even though I was hurt physically, my family and friends were really affected. One text message is never worth a life. And you think that it'll only affect you. When something like that happens, you'll realize that it affects 3 times as many people as you think. I mean, it affects you, it affects the person you hit, and then it affects their family and the people in their life. When on the cell phone, I mean, it's really just not worth it.
So, at the risk of sounding like a warning or a PSA, don't text and drive. Yes, it's dangerous, and yes, it could ruin your life.
I have to admit, you're right. My life is way more important than my flimsy little phone.
Just think about it. Texting is a way of life, but it doesn't have to get in the way of life.